I would like to start off by saying my video will be discussing a sensitive and crucial topic matter. Please be advised, though, that the topic may be triggering to particular audiences, so please proceed with caution. According to the Rape, Abuse, and Incest National Network, or RAINN website, every 68 seconds, an American is sexually assaulted, and every 9 minutes, that victim is a child. In fact, from 2009 to 2013, according to Childhood Protective Services agencies in the United States, they found or sustained evidence that 63,000 children per year were victims of sexual abuse, with a majority of these victims being between the ages of 12 and 17. This is not just girls experiencing it either, but boys as well. 1 in 3 female victims and 1 in 4 male victims first experience an attempted or completed rape between the ages of 11 and 17 years old. But sexual violence isn't the only thing our adolescents are experiencing. According to the Partnership Against Domestic Violence, the second most common age range for someone to first experience domestic violence is between the ages of 11 and 17 years old from an intimate partner. In fact, 1 in 5 teenage girls say they have had a boyfriend threaten violence or self harm if a breakup occurs. We as a society need to take action to protect our children from these forms of violence. Here in California, we can achieve this by expanding sexual education to include sexual violence and domestic violence prevention education. Let's look into how we are addressing the problems today. According to the American Progress website, California is currently one of 11 states that discuss healthy sexual relationships and what is considered consent in a sexual relationship. This is a great stepping stone. However, that's where the education portion stops without continuing. Despite laws in place such as the California Healthy Youth Act, which requires instruction on growth and development, body image, gender, sexual orientation, relationships, marriage, and family to be addressed once in middle school and once in high school through brief conversations. However, as pointed out by the California Department of Education, that school districts create this curriculum and choose the resources that they will use to teach the material. As long as it mentions the above criteria in some form, it follows the law, but the law doesn't require them to go in depth on the material. So, a school district can mention briefly how a healthy relationship has boundaries, especially around sex, and how to tell if you have consent, and that's all that is needed to be compliant with the current law. Parents can also opt out of sex education courses, which these topics are exclusively discussed in. It is assumed that the school will start the conversation and the parents will continue them. Most sexual education courses are done within a day or two and are very general in the topics discussed. This isn't enough, though, for the issues that we are facing in a society. This is just opening the door for the conversation, but that's not enough. Parents are a majority of the role models in their kids' lives, and unfortunately, not every child has a positive example to base their knowledge on healthy relationships off of, and many parents are uncomfortable with discussing these type of topics with their children. So, it is time that we take major solutions and steps to ratify this. The big solution is to expand the current law, California Comprehensive Sexual Health and HIV/AIDS Prevention Education Act of 2016, to include sexual violence and date violence prevention. The Center of Disease Control offers training and resources for educators to address both issues on their website. Their website focuses on how preventable these violences are, especially with the proper education to teach skills to recognize and avoid red flag behaviors. The nonprofit organization Stop Sexual Assault in Our Schools focuses on sexual violence in K 12 schools and uses the hashtag campaign MeTooK12 to bring awareness for the need of comprehensive sexual violence education in primary and secondary schools. When we expand and require in depth comprehensive education on ways to prevent, recognize, report, and get help for sexual and date violence, we are teaching our children not just the ways to protect themselves, but teaching them healthy skills needed to recognize unhealthy examples in their lives. As a society, we need to push for our school districts to include more comprehensive education on healthy relationships under the current law. Let our California representatives know that this is an issue we can no longer ignore and demand ratification of the current law. all while we as parents and as a community look into resources for our children through advocacy groups and the CDC on how to have healthy and open conversations on this very difficult topic. Our children, grandchildren, and all future generations deserve a better future where sexual violence and dating violence aren't a commonplace in childhood. Please use the hashtag MeTooK12 to show your support to bring end of sexual violence in our schools and support bills that would expand sexual education to include domestic violence and sexual violence prevention in both our local and state elections. We need to do better than allowing every 9 minutes a child to be victimized and our children to be experiencing domestic violence from their intimate partners. We as Californians can open a doorway for other states to follow in our example by expanding our sexual education to include violence prevention. Our children deserve a violent free life, so let's start the process for their brighter future.